The Carcharodons are widely believed to hail from a mysterious 21st cursed founding, a genetic experiment so unstable that many of its chapters were purged. But what makes them cursed? The theories spiral through the Imperium's darkest corners. Some claim they descend from the Ravenguard, twisted by gene manipulation. Others whisper of lost Primarchs or corrupted Emperor's children stock. Their behaviour, nomadic, brutal and detached from Imperial politics, suggests they were made for war with no moral leash. Even their own chapter, Cult, offers no answers. They revere silence, blood and death, not lineage. That silence is deafening. Records vanish, witnesses go missing. Some suspect the Inquisition allows them to exist only because they're useful in extermination campaigns the Imperium wants forgotten. Their origin is a blank page soaked in blood, and it's staying that way. The Carcharodons practice a grim ritual known as Mnemno-Latros, a form of memory harvesting that borders on psychic possession. After slaying their foes, especially Chaos Space Marines or other Astartes, they extract neural data and embed it in their own minds through arcane rites involving surgical implants and psycho-reactive oaths. This isn't just for intelligence, they live their enemies' deaths, absorb their instincts, their hatreds. Over time, some Carcharodons become unstable, muttering in dead languages, fighting with tactics alien to their chapter. A warrior might recall dying a dozen times in bodies not his own. Others show signs of merging identities, killing comrades in hallucinated replays of stolen battles. Is it madness or strength? For the Carcharodons, the line doesn't matter. They are not one mind, they are many, swimming in the red fog of collective violence. The Carcharodons are not just brutal, they are built for the void. As a fleet-based chapter, they've mastered the cold, silent warfare of space itself. They strike during warp translation, board ships mid-jump, and operate without light, comms, or sound. Entire enemy fleets vanish into the black, shredded by assault claws and silent boarding torpedoes. While most Space Marines are trained for planetary assault, the Carcharodons evolved into deep space predators, maneuvering through wreckage fields like sharks through coral reefs. Their armour is magnetized for zero-G combat. Their tactics emphasize psychological trauma, airlock breaches, oxygen starvation, corpses drifting with silent screams. Some say they disable life support systems just to feel the panic. To face them in battle is to feel the Emperor's light snuffed out by cold, predatory hunger. In the void, the Carcharodons are gods. The Carcharodons' infamous Red Tithe is no gentle call to arms, it's a brutal, often lethal conscription method that leaves entire worlds trembling. When the chapter needs fresh blood, their fleet descends on frontier planets with the subtlety of a tidal wave. They raid settlements, forcibly recruiting the strongest, fiercest warriors, often tearing young men from their families and executing those who resist. This isn't just desperation, it's ritual. The Red Tithe culls the weak, leaving only survivors marked by blood and fire. Some recruits are barely adults, hardened overnight by savage training and immediate combat deployment. These brutal raids have earned the Carcharodons a reputation bordering on terror among Imperial worlds. To them, the ends justify the means. Survival demands warriors born in blood, not comfort, and the Red Tithe never ends. The Carcharodons' savage aesthetic is a striking blend of primal ferocity and ritualistic artistry, heavily inspired by Maori and Polynesian warrior culture. Their armour is etched with bone and shark motifs, decorated with carved teeth and swirling tattoos painted directly into ceramite plates. These markings aren't just decoration, they're symbols of honour, victories, and the souls of fallen enemies. Each warrior's armour tells a story of brutal battles and rites of passage, often adorned with trophies taken from defeated foes. Their war chants echo ancient battle cries, passed down in guttural dialects lost to the wider Imperium. This fusion of savage beauty and deadly efficiency makes the Carcharodons not just feared killers, but living legends. A terrifying force wrapped in the echoes of primeval war songs that strike fear into the hearts of all who face them. The Carcharodons brandish shark imagery not just as a symbol, but as a psychological weapon. Their helmets often mimic the gaping maw of a great white, complete with jagged teeth painted in horrifying detail. Their banners and vehicles bear the silhouette of a shark fin slicing through blood-red waves. This iconography taps into an ancient primal fear, death lurking unseen beneath the surface. Enemies claim that facing a Carcharodon is like staring down a predator from the deep, relentless, cold, and utterly merciless. The chapter's brutal boarding tactics and swift, decisive strikes mirror the hunting style of sharks, enhancing their reputation as the Imperium's living nightmare. When the fin appears on the horizon, hope dies first. Imagine being so dangerous, even the Emperor's own agents watch you with suspicion. The Carcharodons' uneasy relationship with the Inquisition is a study in cold pragmatism. The chapter's ruthless methods and secretive nature put them under constant scrutiny. Some Inquisitors suspect heresy or worse. Yet, when the Imperium faces threats too vile or chaotic to contain, even the sternest Inquisitors begrudgingly call on the Carcharodons. Their effectiveness in eliminating Xenos infestations or chaos cults is undeniable. Still, there are whispered rumours that some Inquisitors keep tabs on the chapter's fleet movements, fearing what they might find lurking in the shadows of the cursed founding. The alliance is fragile, held together by necessity rather than trust, and everyone involved knows it could snap at any moment. The Carcharodons are infamous for their eerie silence on the battlefield. Unlike other chapters who shout war cries or fire vox casters, these Space Marines move like ghosts, silent, swift, and deadly. Orders are given through hand signals or mental commands, leaving enemy forces unnerved by the absence of noise. This chilling quiet breaks morale and amplifies fear, as foes never know where the next attack will come from. Even among their own ranks, silence is a form of discipline and respect. Some say this silence stems from an ancient vow tied to their lost origins, a ritual to keep the cursed founding's secrets buried. Whatever the reason, when the Carcharodons strike, the only sound left is the echo of death. Librarians among the Carcharodons are few and terrifying. Unlike other chapters where psykers serve openly as advisors and battle mages, Carcharodon librarians are secretive, bordering on fanatical zealots. Their psychic talents are raw, brutal, and often fueled by a dark hunger that frightens even their own battle brothers. These psykers rarely speak, instead unleashing their powers with explosive violence, tearing enemies apart with mind-shredding blasts or summoning warp shadows that claw at reality. Some whisper these librarians are haunted by the stolen memories absorbed through Mnemno-Latros, causing psychic fractures and unpredictable surges. Their power is a dangerous edge, a tool the chapter wields with caution, knowing it could consume them at any moment. Carcharodon apothecaries and chirurgeons don't just heal, they conduct grim rituals after battle. Unlike other chapters where gene seed recovery is clinical, these rites are drenched in blood and ceremony. Fallen warriors' gene seed organs are carefully extracted with precision, but also marked with chants and war paint, symbolizing the passage of the warrior's soul into the chapter's living legacy. The process is as much spiritual as it is scientific. Apothecaries wear bone and teeth trophies from enemies as reminders of death's ever-present shadow. The Carcharodons believe the gene seed carries not just biology, but memory, a sacred inheritance that must be guarded fiercely, lest the chapter's dark lineage fade into oblivion. The rite of red reaving is a brutal initiation for new recruits and battle brothers wounded in combat. Before joining the ranks fully, initiates must perform a blood oath, ripping through enemy lines in a solo assault, often in a 0G void condition. Success means acceptance, failure means death, either by enemy blade or execution by their own. This rite cements loyalty and tempers savagery into unbreakable resolve. It's a violent baptism, celebrated with carved scars and ritual chants. Survivors emerge changed, haunted by the ghosts of those they killed and the silence of their own breath in space. To the Carcharodons, this rite is the ultimate proof that only the strongest deserve the Emperor's gift of life. The Carcharodons are a fleet-based chapter, existing primarily aboard their massive war vessels rather than on any world. Their constant voyage through the void shapes everything about them, their culture, tactics, and psyche. Cut off from regular Imperial support, they rely on scavenging and brutal efficiency to survive. Isolation breeds a cold pragmatism and fierce independence, making them suspicious of outsiders, including other Space Marines. Time becomes fluid aboard their ships. Centuries can pass unnoticed. This detachment from planetary civilization deepens their mystery and fuels their savage reputation. For the Carcharodons, the Void is home, a drifting death squadron of relentless hunters stalking the galaxy's darkest corners. The Carcharodons share a strange kinship and rivalry with chapters like the Ravenguard and the Minotaurs. Both are known for their stealth and ferocity, but the Carcharodons' brutal nomadic nature sets them apart. Some Ravenguard commanders suspect a shared origin, yet tensions simmer over tactics and ideology. The Minotaurs, brutal enforcers known for their zeal, sometimes clash with the Carcharodons in war zones where their missions overlap, each viewing the other as dangerously unpredictable. Despite this, the alliances form when the galaxy faces common threats, though trust is always wary. Their interactions are like shark and bull, both predators, sometimes allies, often at odds, bound by blood, battle, and shadowed pasts. Their language is a living relic, proof that the Carcharodons carry fragments of a forgotten past, preserving secrets in every growl and shout. The Carcharodons communicate using a harsh guttural dialect, an archaic battle cant steeped in lost Imperial languages and guttural war terms from ancient, forgotten worlds. Their speech is a mix of commands, curses, and war chants that sound like the growl of a beast stalking its prey. This tongue serves as both practical code and ritualistic chant, strengthening bonds in combat and confusing enemies who hear only snarls and indecipherable threats. Even other Space Marines struggle to understand them, adding to their mystique. In the hands of a Carcharodon, armour becomes a living record of blood, pain, and relentless fury. Unlike the pristine ceramite of other chapters, their armour is adorned with shark teeth, bone fragments, and the painted scars of countless battles. Each mark tells a story: kills earned, enemies bested, or rites survived. Warriors carve personal symbols into their plates, blending savage artistry with brutal practicality. This personalization isn't mere vanity, it's a constant reminder of their violent existence and the death they bring. The intimidating aesthetics unsettle foes and inspire awe among allies. What if your armor was a canvas of death and honor?